Bluey is definitely the biggest cartoon phenomenon in recent years. But did you know there's a reference to the blue pup in an episode of The Simpsons? Simpsons. This awesome reference in the most famous cartoon ever happened in a special episode of The Yellow Family where various Disney characters, who also own The Simpsons, appear in Springfield, released in 2021. We can see Homer trying to enter Moe's Tavern as usual, one of his favorite places, and we can see Maui and Ralph at the door, controlling the entry. Then we see Homer claiming to Maleficent that he's also a big Disney star now.
I'm telling you, I'm a big star on Disney+.
We can notice the villain holding a tablet with the list of authorized people to enter the party, and among the guests, we can see Bluey's name among them, alongside several other characters from the company like Pinocchio, Luca, and Thanos. This is definitely an amazing reference to Bluey that practically nobody had noticed. My question is, what would Bluey do inside an adult bar? I think she would drink watermelon juice or something like that. Now, check out the 8 references to Bluey in other cartoons, series, and toys. Abbott Elementary. Now let's talk about another reference, but this time with the real presence of the characters from the Little Blue Dog series. In Abbott Elementary, a comedy series that tells the story of a group of teachers at a school in Philadelphia, in the 4th episode of the 2nd season, one of the kids is simply obsessed with a cartoon she watched. And guess which cartoon it is?
Bluey.
Bluey. The show is called Bluey.
That's right, Bluey! The boy named Micah starts repeating several phrases from the show and Bingo's name several times. Moreover, notice that his sweatshirt is stamped with the images of the 2 Healer sisters. And if you've watched the series Everybody Hates Chris, yes, it's the same actor who plays the kid's teacher, as if he were the correspondent from Calypso to the kids. At the end of the episode, Micah starts singing the Bluey opening song loudly, so the teacher comes up with the strategy of putting stickers of the character on the board so the boy can stay quiet and he can continue his class. This was definitely a great idea from Chris, I mean the teacher. And if you also think that watching is a great choice, comment down below, #Bluey. DuckTales. Now, let's talk about a Bluey reference that happens in another cartoon that is a reboot of one of Disney's most successful cartoons in the 90s, DuckTales. In the 6th episode of the 2nd season, released between late 2018 and late 2019, we see the story of Uncle Donald's Christmas Past. In it, Dewey ends up meeting the young version of the most famous Grumpy Duck in cartoons, but contrary to what he imagines, he finds, as he says himself, an emo and lonely kid playing the guitar, or at least trying to, in his room. When young Donald realizes there's someone watching, he asks Dewey who he is and what he saw. The nephew then invents that he's a distant relative of Donald Duck and that his name is actually Bluey. This is a clear reference to the show set in the future, and of course, the old version of Donald wouldn't know who that is. Moreover, it matches with Dewey since he always wears only blue clothes.
How much did you hear? Did you like it? Answer me!
My name is Bluey.
Futurama. Since we talked about The Simpsons, let's now talk about its sister series, Futurama. That's because both cartoons were created by the same person, the genius Matt Groening. And he really is a genius, as he has an IQ above 144. And like a good genius, he probably must be a fan of Bluey's show too. After all, who isn't? For this reason, in an episode released in 2023, the first of season 11, there's a very blatant reference to the Blue Dog series. At a certain point, Fry decides that his new purpose in life will be to watch all the TV shows that exist. As he says this, Bender is scrolling through some movie and show options on the screen of the device in the living room, and we can see references to several famous series, including The Simpsons, which has its name changed to The Simpsons. But if you look a little higher, you'll see that there's a mega reference to 2 of the greatest sci-fi movies of all time, mixed exactly with Bluey. There's a movie called Alien vs. Predator vs. Bluey. Both Alien and Predator are super cinema hits released in the 80s and 90s. In fact, there really is the movie Alien vs. Predator, released in 2004 and a sequel released in 2007. And since Futurama is set in the future, it seems that the sequels to the saga happened in such a way that at some point they thought putting a little 6-year-old blue dog in the same movie with 2 of the most dangerous sci-fi monsters would be a good idea. Really, this is definitely a very blatant reference.
Hereby pledge to watch every TV show ever made.
Mr. In-Between. Now, let's talk about another live-action series that also had a really cool reference to the Healer family's cartoon. In the Australian dramedy series Mr. In-Between, when some characters are in prison, one of the inmates switches to a channel showing Bluey. And not only that, you can even see which episode it is. It's Magic Xylophone, the first of the first season of Bluey. And everything was going well if it weren't for one detail, a fight. The inmates start fighting each other to change the channel because one of them really wants to watch the Blue Dogs episode while the other switches to a soccer game. The problem is that the guy who wants to watch Bluey is huge and much stronger. So, you can more or less guess what the result was, right? The TV definitely went back to showing the Bluey episode. Honestly, I don't judge adults who enjoy Bluey, inside or outside of prison.
I can't hear him. I think we should freeze him just in case.
My Little Pony. Another of the most acclaimed children's cartoons of all time is undoubtedly My Little Pony. And besides being a cartoon, the series that tells the stories of the little horses and their eventful lives full of adventures also has a very famous comic book series called My Little Pony: The New Generation. The series of pony comics is in production, and in issue 20, released in December 2023, called The Great Pony's Identity Crisis, while the character Pip is messing with her cell phone, she shows Zip a video she's watching. And if you look closely, you'll notice that it's a kind of parody involving ponies, but characterized as if they were Bluey characters. Note that the larger pony has a dark blue spot on the top of its head, and under its apron, we can see that its belly is yellow. And these characteristics are the same as Bandit, Bluey's father. Moreover, we see a little pony holding a ketchup bottle and squeezing it on a sandwich. Again, if you look closely, you'll notice that the character has a light blue coat, and on its head, it has two almost purple-blue spots, just like Bluey. So, the reference to our Dear Blue Dog series is clear. If you're a fan of Bluey and cartoons, you're definitely in the right place. So, click the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed so you don't miss anything. Studio C. Many people already know, but for those who don't, there's a comedy show called Studio C that airs on BYU TV. The show, which already has 17 seasons, is rated G and has very light content. So light that in one of its recent episodes, they made a very cool reference to one of the most beloved episodes of the Bluey series, Bedtime. In the episode released in March 2024, a group of 3 thieves starts robbing a house at night, but one of them accidentally stepped on the TV remote and it turns on to an episode of Bluey. One of the burglars has no idea what the show is about, but the other seems to be a big fan of the cartoon. And he's so obsessed with Bluey that the two start arguing about how adults can also like children's shows like the Blue Dogs. Things get even worse after the thief realizes that the episode airing is exactly Bedtime, the highest rated Bluey episode of all time. The thief starts talking like Bandit, using terms like biscuits. After a lot of things, the third thief enters the house. The problem is that he's also a big fan of Bluey, but mainly of the Bedtime episode. So much so that he tattooed Floppy, Bingo's bunny she ends up leaving behind during the episode, as a demonstration that she was becoming a big girl. In the end, everyone gets arrested because instead of running away, they stay to see the end of the episode. The detail is that the 2 policemen who arrived there are also Bluey fans. In other words, everyone is a fan of the Healer family series, which is not untrue.
Bluey? Give me the remote!
Wacky packages. Now, let's talk about a really cool reference to the Bluey cartoon in a toy. The collectible card company Wacky Packages has been producing stickers since 1967 that are coveted worldwide, including the famous baseball cards. The company's names are known for punning on the names of famous brands, thus creating small humor cards that are highly valued by collectors mainly. And in 2023, the company released a card that parodied the Bluey cartoon. In it, we see the Blue Dog and Bingo hugging, and just above them is the word glue, reminiscent of the protagonist of the series. Moreover, we can see the character covered in a kind of glue, thus completing the humor of the sticker and the reference to the Australian cartoon. Once again showing that Bluey is definitely a globally known cartoon. After all, it's so good that even the guys in prison like to watch. We're leaving on your screen 2 amazing video options for you to watch and keep having fun here with us on our channel. Just choose what you want to watch the most and click on it. Thanks, and see you soon.